Thank you for joining me today for this warm-up joint flow on the Mindful Living YouTube channel. Let's begin by finding a comfortable seat. We're gonna keep it real simple today, and you can add this to the beginning or to the end of a practice or workout. So we'll start by extending our arms out long in front of us, palms facing forward, turning the fingertips down and back up. I'm just doing this a few times. Fingertips come up, palms forward, and then down, palms back. We're just going to take that a few more times. Continue here, moving not too fast, but not too slow either. This time we're going to hold our palms facing forward for a moment. Start to feel that stretch in the top of the arms, and then turn the fingertips face down. Feel the shift and stretch here. Hands come to a fist, and we're going to turn them inside and outside, just shifting them back and forth, left and right. Continue doing this for a few more times at your own pace. And we'll start to circle our wrists around, slowly, gently rolling out and then in, out and then in, feeling the stretch in the tops and the forearms. And you can switch directions, coming in and then out, in and then out. Shake your hands out, release the fists, and we'll start to stretch into our fingers. So bringing our index finger to our leg, switching to our middle, pushing down on the leg, to our ring finger, pushing down on the leg, to our pinky, pushing down on the leg, stretching through the fingers. Extend your arms long, pinky edge touch, and bring your palms towards your face. Circle your wrists around and extend your arms long. Circle the arms in and out, pinky edge touching, bring them in. You're just circling your wrists around, stretching into the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders. Last time, and we'll switch directions. So back of the hands come down, in, and out, and circle around, down, in, and out, circle around. You should feel this from the fingertips all the way to the shoulders. A couple more times. Good. Hold your arms out and release. Circle your arms up and back and down, getting some shoulder circles in. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders and start to circle your elbows up, back, and around. Doing this about 3 to 5 times, circling your elbows up, back, and around. Being really intentional to squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw the elbows towards one another as you come back and down. A couple more times here. And this time we'll hold with our elbows down, squeezing them towards one another. Drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Expand through the chest, breathe into the left side shoulder. Drop your chin to your right shoulder. Notice the difference in stretch here, more towards the back of your neck. And we'll just roll the left ear over to the left shoulder. Taking a deep breath into the right neck, into the right shoulder, creating space all the way from the shoulder to the crown of the head. And we'll gently drop the chin towards the left shoulder, changing the stretch slightly, adjusting, still intentionally breathing into the right side neck. And we'll just roll our neck out a few times here, rolling from side to side, creating semicircles. We don't want to crunch into the back of the neck, so we're not rolling our head all the way around. We're moving really slowly. Release the arms, shake them out, uncross the legs, and plant the feet about hips width distance apart. And hands come directly behind us, fingertips facing forward, and we'll start to drop our knees from one side to the other, to the right side, through center and to the left. A few more times here, starting to wake up the hips and the knees and the ankles. Full body joint warm up. Moving at a consistent pace and matching your breath with your movement. Next time you come down to the left side, you're going to hold here. One more breath before you bring your feet back through center. Drop them off to the right side of the mat. Release and extend the legs out in front of you. Flex the feet, drawing the toes back towards the shins, and start to circle your ankles around in one direction, both going in the same direction. Flexing your toes as your feet come back and pointing them as they spin around to the other side. Feeling through the tops of the legs and also the back of the legs, and just switch directions, circling the ankles around in the other direction. Again, really waking up the ankles here, the joints and the toes. And now we'll flex and point our toes. So pointing and flexing. The calves should lift off the mat when you flex and point. You'll feel the stretch through the top of the legs. And release, draw the toes back, flex your feet. And point. And flex. And you can keep your hands behind you for support. Point the toes. And flex them, engaging the whole leg. Point. And from here, we'll flex once more. You can release your hands if you feel comfortable in your seat, lifting. Lifting from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Our toes are flexed. And we're spreading our toes really wide. So we're really waking up the toes, really waking up the joints here. Holding almost until you feel like you're going to get a cramp in your foot. You really want to activate the toes, activate the feet to help with stability, with balance, with working out, with stretching. And release the toes. Plant the feet on the mat once more, hips width distance apart. Hands come behind us, fingertips facing forward, and we're going to lift the hips towards the sky for a reverse tabletop. Really utilizing the wrists, the ankles, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, squeezing the glutes. We're not arching through the back, we're contracting through the core. Tailbone is tucked underneath us. We're opening through the shoulders. Good, exhale and release. Coming through tabletop position. And coming through tabletop, tuck your toes and sit back onto your heels with the toes tucked. Make sure the pinky toe is tucked underneath as well. We'll start to stretch into the feet and we'll interlace the hands at the low back, lengthen through the arms and expand through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together and still having a slight tuck of the chin to the chest to protect the spine. And allow your attention to rest in the body where it is you feel the sensation. Bringing attention to the feet, which are often overlooked. Feeling that stretch through them and release. Untucking the toes, coming onto the tops of the feet and lifting one knee towards the chest and then the other. Stretching into the tops of the feet this time, and depending on how ever tight your feet are will depend on how high you can get your knee, but just starting where you are, coming onto both feet if you can, lifting both knees towards the chest, using your fingers for support as you stretch through the tops of the feet. Again, this may be really sensitive if it's not something you practice often, so starting gently. And release, come through tabletop position. Shoulders are stacked over the wrists. Hips are stacked over the knees. And we'll start to take circles with our torso. Starting small and gradually increasing the size of the circle. Fingertips are spread really wide here. You're pushing through the hands. Switch directions. Starting with small circles and gradually increasing them. Again, the palm of our hand is glued to the mat to protect the wrists. A couple more times. And turn the fingertips out, palms face down, and start to shift forward and backwards. Forward and backwards. Not sinking the hips all the way to the heels, but just a few inches over the knees. Coming forward and back, and last time we'll come side to side, so shifting from the left side of the mat to the right side of the mat. Fingertips are still turned out, palms face down. Couple more times here at your own pace. And for a counter stretch, we're going to turn our fingertips towards one another, palms facing up. Drop your nose to the mat, lift up through the hands into fists, open out through the hands, drop the nose to the mat. Inhale, rise, come onto your fist. Exhale, open through the hands, drop your nose to the mat. Repeating this a few more times. Stretching through the tops of the hands now, through the forearms. Once or twice more. And we'll turn the fingertips back towards the knees, palms are facing down, and you'll shift back. Really stretching into the forearms here, sinking your hips towards your heels as far as you can. Again, if you don't practice this very often, your forearms may be very tight. And this is wonderful if you have to do a lot of typing or if you work at a computer. And a few more times, and then we'll hold, come forward, shift back, and hold. Breathing into the forearms, keeping the palms glued to the mat. Good, one more breath here. And we'll come forward for a counter stretch. For a counter stretch, palms will be facing up, fingertips facing the knees, and you'll squeeze your hands into little fists. If your wrists are tight or sensitive, you can do this one at a time. But you're just squeezing your hands into small fists, curling the fingertips in towards your palm, stretching through the tops of the arms, all the way to the shoulders, holding the squeeze, holding the fist. Still holding here. And then extend your hands out, turn them back over. We'll take one last exercise through our wrists. So our palms are facing down, fingertips forward, and we're just lifting and lowering through the wrists. Lifting and lowering, our fingertips are spread wide, we're strong through the shoulders, and we're just lifting and lowering through our wrists. A few more times. And holding the wrists about an inch or so off the mat. And release here, walk your hands out so you're in a high plank, shoulders stacked over wrists, long flat body. And on your exhale, find downward facing dog. Drop your chest towards the mat, take a bend in your knees, bringing your feet to hips width distance apart. Externally rotating through the shoulders, squeezing the belly button to the spine. And from here, we'll take a slight micro bend in the knees and extend them long. Exhale, inhale, bend the knees, exhale, extend. A few more times, bending the knees, lifting the heels, and exhale, drop the heels. A few more times at the pace of your own breath. And this concludes the end of the warm-up joint flow. Feel free to use this at the beginning or the end of practice. And I'm hoping it's a beautiful day wherever you are.